Texas was
Sorry, I got cut
requiring
off.
that in order to carry a concealed handgun, that you had to take a class in de-escalation, and that was one of the best life lessons I ever learned. Like, regardless if my firearm is on me or not, I mean, that was the best lesson I learned. Like, was just to learn how to de-escalate conflict, because so many times as Black women, we're constantly being provoked. We're constantly being provoked. People are constantly picking on us, and then when all of a sudden, when you lash back out because you've been provoked, they're like, "Oh, you have an attitude." So, just want to let you guys know, like,
yeah, Black women are often told basically that we are not supposed to have emotions. We're not supposed to have feelings. We're supposed to take basically everyone's crap and just take it because we're Black women. You know, people don't really consider how negative they are and how they try to provoke Black women, because they almost think that's how you're supposed to treat Black women, which is so sad and sick. But, you know, that is an issue there where, like, you know, there is a lot of provocation, you know.
That's something that's going to be so vitally important, and to just kind of build those alliances with law. I mean, I know with our kids playing PAL sports when they were smaller, I mean, get to know the cops in your neighborhood, because
what's PLA, sis? What does PLA mean? I'm sorry.
Oh, PAL, Police Athletic League. When our kids were playing sports when they were little, to get to know the cops in our neighborhood. Because most of them are decent people who want safety. They're not these, you know, we demonize them a lot, but a lot of times it's the same thing you want, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to have to go get my conceal to carry license and stuff. Yeah. Just to be
and it's definitely something that we should be aware of and something that we should know about. And those de-escalation classes, like, I mean, and let me tell you, I mean, hate to say it, but if you ever go to an NRA conference, those are the most polite, chivalrous men you'll ever meet. Like, give up their seat for you in a crowded conference, like hold open doors. Some of the most polite men you will meet will be at an NRA conference. No joke.
Oh, they have conferences? Okay.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I need to go to the conference. Honey, ditto. Okay. I need to take a solo trip to the NRA conference. It would be very informative too. I'm sure. And you know, Mocha Mommy knows everything. I'm convinced. Don't sis be dropping the gem. Can y'all listen? Don't follow my sister. Okay. Okay. I'm done. I'm sit back now. The gym.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just letting you know, like, guys, like, please make sure that you're advocating for yourself. Like, I just want you guys to be safe.
Yeah.
I think a major thing with the police is that I think there's you know, those who are more protected and more helped by the police, it seems like maybe they are people that they perceive as more vulnerable or more feminine.
Yes.
I think that because my mother, for example, she's a dark-skinned, Black, unambiguous woman. She's very feminine, very small, delicate, and all that stuff. And it's like her experiences with the police, they always were they almost treated her like a little, you know, delicate child almost. And they were always very protective of her and things of that nature. So to me, I think, like, you know, I was looking at this video, actually, watching this video. It's called, by this lady named Ada on Demand or something. And she was talking about how, like, Black women have been perceived as not that feminine. And because of that, that might have to do with, I think, maybe some people's overall perception of Black women when they, like, come across them. So then sometimes that's why I think we aren't as protected as other races of women, I feel. But I think it's like a case-by-case situation. I don't think it's like all Black women are treated that way, obviously, because my mother's Black and she didn't have that experience. But I'm just saying, I think when we do find it where we're less protected, I think it's because of that.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, I was also wanting to add there that, actually Black people are generally seen as bigger than what we naturally are. Studies have actually shown that, honestly. And I've seen that personally. Like, if you're very, very petite, that's why I was pointing that out with my mother. She's very, very petite. So there's no way to really see her as, someone who isn't petite, basically. And, more, I guess, vulnerable. While, like, for example, someone like a little bit bigger, like myself, you can find that, the treatment is much different, just more different because, you're not seen as small, and vulnerable, and, you're kind of seen as if you're not someone who may need to be protected, basically. So that's all I had to say there. Continue.
Honey, I'm getting that sticker like you said. Okay, sis. Anne said something that's so real, and that is why I really hope that Black women are conditioned not to give in to that femininity of needing help, or literally in the whole how your body what is it called, your body language, your tone of voice, how you look. You can literally appear to like put yourself under someone. And I can only say that because I am a medium height. I'm nearly 5'8", and I'm a thicker girl. I'm a size 16. So
yeah, and it's not just taller women either. Like, I'm not that tall. I'm actually petite. But you would say, I don't think I'm seen as that small and childlike and delicate like someone who's like under 5 foot and like, like 80 or 90 pounds. Someone who's like 5'2" and like 110 for a Black woman would be seen as more of a larger, I guess, larger woman, basically. Even though obviously at 110 and 5'2", you're obviously not big at all.
Some people, even my size, warrants violence. I'm as tall as an average man. To some men, just because you look, you might, I've done CrossFit. When I'm extremely in shape, I'm like a Serena type, body type. So I'm automatically threatening to people who want to make me a threat, and so Anne is so correct. Her mom was, maybe smaller or petite. It invoked the hero complex or the savior complex. So do not be afraid to use that and appeal to that.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean we have this way of just being guilty and having this pseudo guilt about absolutely everything when it comes to your advantage. And it's programmed into a lot of Black women because people want you to be tough, or sometimes you had to be with circumstances. If you do show some emotion, then you're compared to a white girl. You're disrespected because of it. But really, your vulnerability as a woman can shield you with men, especially those who are there to protect and serve you. And sometimes the way that we are taught to respond, our body language is defensive. You know, we may even act scared. I have no problem telling a cop, like, if I remember one time I got pulled over, I said, "Sir, I'm a little nervous, okay?" And he was like, "You have absolutely nothing to be nervous about. I was just pulling you over because of this." But he literally vocalized that he understood why I looked at him all big, doughy eyed, and I said, "I'm a little nervous. I've done nothing wrong. I think, you know why, I'm just a little nervous. Can I, is it okay if I just relax? I'm going to keep my hand on the steering wheel." You ask questions so that you can get a yes out of them. People saying yes feels good to them. This is psychological. And we miss this. We miss this because Black women and girls are not taught that as a whole. Some of us get the privilege of being taught that, but many of us as a whole do not get the privilege of being taught how to rest in our femininity, or even to know how to use it as signaling. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter necessarily, even if the man comes with certain bias, if you know how to use those, and I'm really learning, even more how to do that, and I legit practice as much as I can, with changing certain behaviors, or whether it's changing my voice or whatever the case may be, working on not feeling the need to be so, what's the word, prideful, or offended in the way, especially in an interaction with a man. Sometimes I feel like we're brainwashed or taught to kind of have those masculine feelings of I don't want anybody policing me, as far as, especially man on man, especially if you're in a country, Black people are in a country not run by Black people in this country. So there's a certain manhood, or lack thereof, that comes when you can't even police yourself. When another race of men have to police you. We as women, we can feel that, I guess, but we shouldn't feel it as deeply as a man should, or as Black men should. So we should be able to, personally, I'm working on getting to a place where authority, I'm trying to put it delicately, because it's comforting. And so if we change the way we react, just like you said, then they will kind of change the way they react to us. If our energy is different, everything has an equal and opposite response for the most part. There's going to be some people that you can't control what they do or how they respond, but even sometimes when people react, I don't know, I'm terrible for using the word like a douche. If a guy reacts, or usually if I get a woman, they're not hard or rough with me. They're actually compassionate, just because they know, even if they have to uphold what the interaction that you're dealing with them on. I'm just saying, if I get pulled over, I used to be a little speeder, in Texas highways, but even how you respond to someone having a bad response to you, it can cause their own conscience to convict them. Them responding to you terribly does not mean that you have to respond, but we are usually, I want to give the benefit of understanding, because I know what it is to have to defend myself, have to, have that resting bee face, having to, kind of have to be rough back to the point where I've got to create distance, or almost be willing to protect myself physically. I get it. So I want to, I'm not trying to masculinize you or any woman or sister in this chat who's hearing this, if you have done it. But even if someone reacts to you like an a-hole, you can literally, it's almost like how when a Becky's coming from you have to kind of turn it around. If they're coming for you wrongly, you have to make them look like the bad guy to them and possibly to other people around them. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, blah, 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 whatever. Don't respond. And it's a PTSD thing. You're triggered is when usually you respond like that, but we're not realizing that's PTSD. It's post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a stress response. And I have to go in just a second. I'm studying for a test, and then I have another panel to be on at 8 before this test at midnight. But I wanted to give one more just bit of advice, y'all. Danielle said it, and 2 other women in the chat said it, and I don't recall their name, about getting out of an area. Check these zip codes. But guys, I know sometimes we're not getting it out of an area because financially it's tough. Still, Part 2 pandemic. Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I can't hear anything anymore.
Yeah.
Hello?
Or your audio.
Okay, I thought it was my side.
Huh? Well, we couldn't hear you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold tight. Any better? Keep talking. Okay. Just interrupt me if I'm being now I can. Okay, perfect. Try your best to connect with roommates who are like-minded, going in a direction. Don't get your roommate that's going to be high and dry. Vet everybody well. This ain't just a vet men well. Vet everybody well. But if you have to get a roommate to get out of your local city because it is unsafe and move to a different zip code where tax brackets are different, then do so. I did that. You don't have to be one.
Yeah, that's why when people say, like, financially they're stuck to a certain area, I always think that's odd. Because you can really move anywhere. Just have to move to the right place.
Yeah, you don't, and I mean, we're taught you Miss Independent, or for like me, the first 12 years of my life, I had to live by myself. I had no one. I had no parents to depend on. I had no mom or dad I could call. They was out there dysfunctional, doing whatever they was doing. I was an adult when I was a kid. I get it. But if you can change your circumstance and connect with like-minded individuals, get a game plan in place to get out of that area, and move to a safer place, and then do exactly what Mokamami was saying. Attend these meetings, support, the local fraternity of police, and do all that you can. Get involved. Basically, show yourself to be what you are, a thriving part of the community and not one who's devastating it. But get out of your city and do not be afraid to get roommates to do it. Sign, make your little contracts. You can make up a contract online. Y'all sign it. Y'all come to an agreement. Get viable people who are responsible, but do not be pressured to have all of your own, because that's how most communities actually thrive and go into wealth. They come together to get out. But we're not taught, especially as Black women, we're not taught that. Or you're forced to do it on your own, because then you'll be told that you're a moocher or you're not independent, or you got a roommate and you're in your 30s. Hold up, man. This is Black Girl Financial Plan 2021. My business. Yep. I'm over here. Be over there. But that's just an encouragement.
Yeah, I never get that one, because I guess it's pretty normal to be in your 20s with roommates, even though I've not always had roommates in my 20s. But I think people have roommates at any age. People in old age sometimes have roommates. So that's just a little odd that someone would judge someone for that, in my opinion.
If you're in your 30s, who cares? Yeah. Do what you gotta do. Get safe and get in a place where when you meet somebody, they outside your tax bracket and are above it. Yep. I need to do a whole video about that, because yes, sis, please. I'm definitely well versed in finding roommates and like moving to different areas, because my last apartment, was my first apartment by myself, and most of my roommates were not Black. Mm-hmm. Until I had one Black roommate, and we were co-workers. We met at work. And she was like my only Black roommate. Well, I had one other one, and she was like, I stayed with her for like 3 months, and then I left. Because she didn't know how to pay her bills, but whatever. But, so, yeah, I need to do a whole video on that, because I was, 29 or something when I got my first apartment by myself. So, and we are kind of raised to feel like that's old. First of all, everything is more expensive now. It's not the 70s, it's not the 80s, it's not the 90s, it's not the early 2000s. Everything is expensive now. So sometimes you will have to find a roommate, and we have to sort of shed this idea of we have to do everything by ourselves, because that's kind of why we're in the predicament that we are in now. And we're in a space now more so than ever that we can change that. So, you have anything else to say before you have to go? And then we're going to get out of here in a few.
No, I appreciate you, sis, and much love to you ladies and some of the gentlemen that was in the chat. Y'all take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Bye.
Bye. Did you want to say anything else, Anne?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to say one other thing. Yeah. I saw one of the comments actually on that you mentioned actually, and I wanted to say she was saying something about siding with Black women, having a hard time with siding with people siding with Black women, and I was like, from my personal experience, I can say that honestly, like with the whole being feminine and stuff, I think it does go in like the advantage of some Black women, but she was right. I do agree that there is a part where like sometimes it's seen as a sign of weakness, and I think that's why a lot of Black women try to not rest in their femininity. Because
also, I think that technically it might also be because some people don't think that Black women are supposed to rest in their femininity, so that's another problem. But yeah,
so much of the time they've been taken advantage of while being feminine. And then also one other thing, she was saying about siding. Sometimes I feel like often with like Black men and Black women, between them, when there's a problem, sometimes Black men seem to be more understood or more trusted sometimes, and sometimes Black women are. It just depends on the situation, really. And yeah, that's all I had to say. I just agree with that comment, and that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, bye.
Bye. So yeah, this was a good discussion.
So yeah, that was one live. I like this live a lot, that I was on. It was a really great topic, so I guess I'll let her. Oh, she's not done. I thought she was. I know she talks for a minute more. I'll just let her close out.
Shane, I'm about to get out of here, so we're not on here for 2 hours like normal. So yeah, thanks for everybody who commented. Good information and stuff. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this video again myself so I can figure out what the fraternity of police and stuff, because I've been thinking about doing things like that. I just need to make the time to do it, because listen, I want them to know that we are not all like that, and it's sad that we have to kind of like put on our tap dancing shoes to separate ourselves from a lot of other people, but it is what it is. Once we can get more emotionally intelligent, because Black people are very emotional, once we can work on that, we can kind of separate ourselves from our pride and ego enough to be able to work this life for everything it's worth. So thank y'all so much for tuning